Well, you might have seen a few people showed up in Philadelphia the other night. And then 10,000 plus walked into a field in western Wisconsin. And then on Wednesday, the largest crowd of the campaign showed up in Detroit, Michigan. But Arizona just couldn't leave it alone, could you? Wow. You know, it's not as if anybody cares about crowd sizes or anything. So.
The Biden-Harris ticket won Arizona in 2020 by fewer than 11,000 votes. Tonight in Arizona, Vice President Harris and Governor Walz spoke to an enthusiastic and diverse crowd of Democrats and Republicans, including the co-chair of the Arizona chapter of Republicans for Harris, Mesa Mayor John Giles. Former Arizona Congresswoman Gabby Giffords took the stage to loud cheers to deliver this inspiring message.
We are living challenging times. We're up for the challenge. My own recovery has taken years. Many people helped me along the way, and I learned so much. I learned that people care for each other and work together. Progress is possible. A world is possible. But change doesn't happen overnight, and we can't do it alone. Join me. Let's move ahead together.
Governor Walz told the crowd that he wants Donald Trump and Republicans to, quote, mind their own damn business.
Violent crime was up under Donald Trump. And we don't even have to count his crimes in that to make it up. So, still. Look, those, better yet, beat the hell out of him at the ballot box. Beat the hell out of him at the ballot box. Republicans used to be the people talking about freedom. Not this group. When they talk about freedom, it means that the government should be free to invade your exam room with your doctor. Look, in Minnesota, we respect our neighbors and the personal choices they make. We maybe wouldn't make the same choices, but we respect them. And I know in Minnesota and in Arizona and places across this country, you know what makes society work best is when you learn a golden rule. Mind your own damn business. Mind your own damn business. You don't need it. I don't need you telling me what books to read. I don't need you telling me about what religion we worship. And I sure the heck don't need you to tell me about my family.
And Vice President Harris laid out her vision for America.
When he was president, Donald Trump handpicked 3 members of the United States Supreme Court with the intention that they would overturn and undo the protections of Roe v. Wade. And as he intended, they did. And now, in over 20 states in our nation, there is a Trump abortion ban. Many, like Arizona, with no exceptions even for rape or incest. And just yesterday, in a press conference, we got a fresh reminder of what Donald Trump's Project 2025 agenda would do. It would ban medication abortion in every state. But we are not going to let that happen because we trust women. And when Congress passes a bill to restore reproductive freedoms for every woman in America, I will sign it into law. Generations of Americans before us led the fight for freedom. Now, the baton is in our hands. Each and every one of us. So we who believe in the sacred freedom to vote will finally pass the John Lewis Voting Rights Act and the Freedom to Vote Act. And we who believe in the freedom to live safe from gun violence will finally pass an assault weapons ban, universal background checks, and red flag laws. So much is on the line in this election. And understand, this is not 2016, and this is not 2020. You know, this time around, the stakes are even higher. We together, all of us, we're running this campaign on behalf of all Americans, from red states to blue states, from the heartland to the coast. And when we are elected, we will govern on behalf of all Americans. All Americans. So Arizona, ultimately in this election, I do believe we each one of us, we face a question. That question being, what kind of country do we want to live in? Do we want to live in a country of chaos, fear, and hate? Or a country of freedom, compassion, and rule of law? And the beauty of our democracy is that we each have the power to answer that question, each one of us. In the next, then, 88 days, we need you to use your power. We need you to knock on some doors. We need you to register folks to vote. We need you to energize, to mobilize, to organize, and to make your voices heard. So Arizona, I ask, are you ready to make your voices heard? Do we believe in freedom? Do we believe in opportunity? Do we believe in the promise of America? And are we ready to fight for it? And when we fight, we win. God bless you, and God bless the United States of America.
Joining us now, Arizona Democratic State Senator Eva Birch. She is on her way home from tonight's rally. That's how you know a rally is good, when you're still sitting in the parking lot trying to get out. Senator Birch, thank you very much for being here. Bring us inside. What was it like inside the arena tonight?
I can't tell you how amazing it feels to have this enthusiasm surrounding you. I mean, this is a big arena, and it was a completely packed house with standing room only in the back. It was absolutely sensational, and the energy is just palpable. You can tell that people are excited and ready to do the work and ready to do what it takes to get Harris across the finish line. This is a crowd that's energized.
You represent parts of Mesa, Arizona. The Republican mayor of Mesa, John Giles, was at today's rally after endorsing Vice President Harris. Here's what he had to say.
I have something to say to those of us who are in the political middle. You don't owe a damn thing to that political party. You do not owe anything to a party that is out of touch and is hell-bent on taking our country backward. And by all means, you owe no displaced loyalty to a candidate that is morally and ethically bankrupt.
State Senator, how do you believe Vice President Harris can appeal to more Republicans in Arizona?
Well, I'll tell you what, John Giles is a good friend and is a good man. And the truths that he speaks, I know, resonates with a lot of people here in Arizona. I come from a district that is very split, that is maybe a third independent, a third Republican, and a third Democrat. And it does take a certain type of voice. You want to cast a wide net. But I think that what the Harris campaign is doing right is that it's speaking to these issues that really touch all of us, talking about inflation and talking about how we can attack that in a way that actually helps the American people who are middle class by holding the corporate entities accountable and by dealing with the price gouging that we're seeing consistently year after year. But also speaking to the things that are important to people in Arizona, talking about comprehensive immigration reform and about the affordability of housing, where we really have a crisis with housing affordability here in Arizona. And I think that's the important thing, is staying on message, talking about these things that are important to the people of Arizona will absolutely cast that wide net and allow us to pull people into the conversation. We're just so tired as a country of feeling alienated all the time and leading with this negativity and this hateful rhetoric. And I think that just continuing to bring that joy and to speaking to the American people about the issues that matter to them the most is the way to win.
You know, Senator, another issue that's important to a lot of people is reproductive health care. Donald Trump yesterday said that abortion is no longer a, quote, big factor in elections. And I bring this up because you shared your own heartbreaking abortion story on the floor of the Arizona State Senate.
I think that that is a really creative wish list for Donald Trump to hope that this is not an important issue anymore. But the fact of the matter is you still have a very large portion of the electorate who is capable of getting pregnant. And even if they are not, we're talking about people's families and people's futures. And those choices are important to Arizonans and important to Americans. And it is absolutely going to matter at the ballot box in November. This issue is not going to go away. This is going to continue to be important to us. And as these rights are being stripped in individual states, we're not going to forget about that. We are still fighting every day to restore rights here in Arizona. And that's happening all across the country. And we all know why. And so that is going to continue to be a driving force in the November election. And we're going to continue to keep it part of the conversation where it belongs, at the forefront.
What do you believe Vice President Harris needs to do to win Arizona again?
I think that Vice President Harris needs to come back and see us. I know that she will. I'm sure that she will. Spending time here and showing up for us matters. That's not what we're seeing from the opposition right now. And I think that being here and being present, listening to the voters here in Arizona, what are the issues that are important to them and how are we addressing them? Just really making sure that we understand what the solutions are and what we can work towards and what we can hope for, giving us something to believe in and something to fight for. That's what this campaign is doing. And I know it's what they're going to continue to do. But being present and speaking to the individual needs and the unique situations that we experience here in Arizona is going to resonate. We are a state of mavericks. And I know that there are people who are still unsure about what they're going to do in this election and who they're going to vote for in November. And it's about continuing that conversation and steering it in the right direction. Arizona
State Senator Eva Birch, thank you very much for joining us this evening. Even Still in the parking lot, trying to get out of that rally, but we really appreciate it.
It's my pleasure. Thanks to you.
All right. In any other era of American politics, this would have been the major news of the day.
For my part, I'm staying out of the presidential campaign. I cannot endorse President Trump's continuing assertion that I should have set aside my oath to support and defend the Constitution and acted in a way that would have overturned the election in January of 2021.
That was former Vice President Mike Pence telling voters that he cannot endorse Donald Trump's effort to overturn the election on January 6th. This should be the headline today, particularly given the outrageous lies that Donald Trump spewed yesterday in trying to whitewash the violence his supporters unleashed when they attacked the Capitol on January 6th. But a vice president turning on the president he served because he tried to steal the election? It's just another day in the Trump era. Trump's been embraced by Republicans while Pence has been ostracized. And today just happens to be 50 years to the day that Richard Nixon left the White House after members of his own party told him to resign or face impeachment and conviction over the Watergate scandal in which Nixon abused his power to cover up his involvement in a break-in at Democratic Party headquarters.
From the discussions I have had with congressional and other leaders, I have concluded that because of the Watergate matter, I might not have the support of the Congress that I would consider necessary to back the very difficult decisions and carry out the duties of this office in the way the interests of the nation will require. Therefore, I shall resign the presidency.
It took 50 years for Republicans to fully embrace a Republican president's criminal behavior and renominate him to run for president again. Joining us now, Democratic Congressman Eric Swalwell of California. He served as an impeachment manager in the second impeachment trial of Donald Trump and is suing Donald Trump over the January 6th attacks. Congressman Swalwell, always good to see you. Can you even imagine a Republican leadership who forced Donald Trump out at any of the opportunities they had to do so?
Jonathan, it is no surprise to me that most of those who have worked with Donald Trump have abandoned him. And in fact, the leadership that supports him now, let me just make a prediction. They're probably going to abandon him in the future. And let's just walk through what this really means in the context of history. The past two nominees before Donald Trump, John McCain and Mitt Romney, never supported Donald Trump. Almost no one in his cabinet is endorsing him, didn't show up at the convention. His vice president is not endorsing him. His wife didn't even go to the debate. This guy has alienated, or as Rick Wilson says, everything Trump touches dies. And by the way, Jonathan, so are his supporters. His crowd sizes are shrinking. He's not even doing major campaign events in any of the battleground states anymore.
One of the most violent rioters who assaulted police and threatened to kill Democratic politicians was sentenced to 20 years in prison today, the second longest sentence in a January 6th case. Trump thinks defendants like him are being treated, quote, too harshly and will consider pardons for them. What do you think of that as a former prosecutor?
Well, in our country, we prefer voting over violence. And Donald Trump is going to find that out as Kamala Harris prosecutes this case against him over the next 80 or so days. But what I also look forward to, by the way, as a father of three little kids, is that we have an opportunity for them not to ever have to live through or experience the worst of Donald Trump. And I'll just tell you, recently my kids were with me at a parade, helping me pass out rubber duckies along the parade route. And my little boy gave a little girl a rubber ducky, and her father looked at my son and said, "We're for Trump." And my confused little boy looked at me and then looked back at the man and said, "Who's Trump?" And I just think that's the goal here, is who's Trump, at least for the kids. And for us, by the way, we may think we're going to be stuck with this guy, even if he's not in office for the rest of our lives. But we've had, and it's because we've had, these MAGA idiots and violence for so long that we think it'll live with us forever. But we're wrong. It won't. Donald Trump has had this evil charisma that no one else on his side has had. And he's had a 14-year political ad before he came into office called The Apprentice. So if we beat him in November, we have a real chance at burying him and making sure that everyone else on their side is just a cover band. And I don't think many folks are going to be showing up for that.
Did that little girl keep the rubber ducky?
She did. And it's because we are trying to bring joy, Jonathan. And you see that in Kamala Harris and you see that in Tim Walz. The side that has the most fun is the side that wins.
Let me get you on one more question. Listen to what Governor Tim Walz had to say tonight.
What we believe in, we are people that settle our political differences not through violence, but through voting. And let's just go ahead and not go through this thing that it's so close. Let's just win big, people. Let's just win big.
And Congressman Swalwell, how important is that message, given all of Trump's efforts to undermine the 2020 election and this election?
Yeah. In politics, just like sports, momentum is a funny thing. And momentum is on our side right now. People are excited. Optimism begets more optimism. And again, Donald Trump is left to just, foam at the mouth at a Mar-a-Lago podium rather than being out at the battlegrounds. And one thing I just want to say about Tim Walz, because this guy, his locker was just a few away from mine at the Capitol gym. He is a man of principle. And I remember one time, Jonathan, there was a tough vote for people who were in Trump districts. And I asked Tim, I said, are you sweating this vote? And he looked at me and he said, Eric, I'm going to vote my conscience and my heart. And he said, if I just go and try and vote like what I think Republicans want just to try and win their votes, my constituents will figure out they can just elect a Republican. And so I'd rather just be myself. That is a man of character and principle. And that's what we're going to have in our next vice president, which is not what you've seen on the other side being nominated. Somebody who's completely changed just to be in power in J.D. Vance.
I'm going to talk a little bit about Governor Walz at the beginning of my show tomorrow night. So I'm glad we ended on that note. Congressman Eric Swalwell, thank you, as always, for coming to The Last Word. And coming up, why the latest request for a delay in Donald Trump's federal election case tied to the January 6th insurrection did not, for once, come at the request of the defendant. And if you don't think Trump's legal problems and attacks on democracy matter in this year's presidential election, Vice President Harris would disagree. That's next with Andrew Weissman.
The United States Supreme Court basically just told the former president, who has been convicted of fraud, that going forward, he will be effectively immune no matter what he does in the White House. But think about what that means. Think about what that means in this election. Think about what that means. He's been effectively told he will be immune if he's back in the White House. Think about what that means when you remember Donald Trump has openly vowed, if reelected, he will be a dictator on day one. That he will weaponize the Department of Justice against his political enemies. Remember that he even called for the, quote, termination of the Constitution of the United States. Understand what this means. And let us be very clear. Someone who suggests we should terminate the Constitution of the United States should never again stand behind the seal of the United States president.
If you have heart failure, Farxiga can help you keep living life with the ones you love. Ask your doctor about Farxiga today. Farxiga can cause serious side effects, including ketoacidosis that may be fatal, dehydration, urinary tract or genital yeast infections, and low blood sugar. A rare life-threatening bacterial infection in the skin of the perineum could occur. Stop taking Farxiga and call your doctor right away if you have symptoms of this infection, an allergic reaction, or ketoacidosis.
Sup?
Who are you?
I'm your inner child. Get in. Listen, what you really need in life is some freaking torque. Oh yeah, man. Horsepower keeps you going, but torque gets you going. Oh, now we're torquing.
I love car puns.
Oh, I know. Power shot.
The Dodge Hornet RT, the totally torqued out crossover.
My cholesterol is borderline. I figure I can worry about it or do something about it. Garlic helps maintain healthy cholesterol naturally. It's odor and taste free with guaranteed potency. I'm taking charge of my cholesterol with Garlic.
When I grow up, I want to be an actor.
So why don't you act like a good sister and get me some more buffalo wings?
On second thought, I want to be a director. Let's try a scene where you go get your own.
Can we get some more lemon pepper wings in this scene?
Ooh, and honey teriyaki too.
Ooh, good note.
Have your people call my people.
Ugh, when is my allergy spray gonna kick in?
You need Astapro.
Astapro?
It's faster, bro. 8 times faster than Flonase.
It's faster, bro.
It's faster, bro. It's faster, bro.
It's mom to you.
Astapro starts working in 30 minutes. Astapro and go.
Pause for the facts. Classic first-timers. They don't know that nearly half of all used cars have been in an accident. But Carfax shows how accidents impact price, so they don't have to overpay. Unpause.
Ooh, one with no accidents.
Shop the all-new Carfax.com.
As a cardiologist, when I put my patients on a statin to reduce cholesterol, I also tell them it can deplete their CoQ10 levels. I recommend taking Cunol CoQ10. Cunol has 3 times better absorption than regular CoQ10. Cunol, the brand I trust.
HomeAglow just cleaned my entire house for $19. Seriously, $19. They showed up right on time and did my dishes, my laundry. They even cleaned my windows. You just pick a date, pick a cleaner, and enjoy a spotless house for $19. I love using HomeAglow, and I think you will too.
I can feel the winds of change.
I wish my TV provider let me choose what I pay for. And pause my subscription when I want and have hundreds of free channels.
Sling lets you do that.
Choose and customize your channel lineup or watch for free. Sling lets you do that.
I was seeing this bra all over my Instagram feed. I'm sure you're seeing it too.
This is the most comfortable bra I've ever put on in my life. I love it because, one, it's not underwire. I hate underwire. It smooths out your back. It doesn't give you back fat or back rolls. You can wear this under a t-shirt and it wouldn't leave any marks or bulges. So not only is it super supportive, lifting and smoothing, but you have all that without an underwire and without a ton of padding.
So if you're looking at this and it's available, I promise you won't regret it.
Try risk-free. Free returns on all orders.
We're excited to do business with you, but before we sign, I gotta ask.
Sure, anything.
We searched you online, and maybe you can explain this?
Can't believe that garbage is still coming in. That is so false.
Frustrated with your online search results? Call Reputation Defender today to join tens of thousands who've improved their online reputation. Get your free reputation report card at reputationdefender.com or call 1-877-866-8555.
Donald Trump's first court hearing in his federal election interference case since the Supreme Court's opinion granting him broad immunity has been postponed for 3 weeks. Today, Judge Tanya Chutkan granted a request for the delay, moving a hearing that she previously scheduled for next week until September 5th. But this request for a delay didn't come from Donald Trump. It came from Jack Smith. Donald Trump, of course, agreed to the delay. Now, this chain of events left many legal analysts wondering, what's the prosecution's strategy here? Jack Smith once seemed eager to move Trump's criminal case along as quickly as possible, until Trump's appeal put it on hold for more than 8 months since last December. So what's going on at DOJ? Joining us now, Andrew Weissman, former FBI general counsel and former chief of the criminal division in the Eastern District of New York. He's an MSNBC legal analyst and co-author of the New York Times bestselling book, The Trump Indictments. Andrew, after the 8-month Supreme Court imposed delay, you'd think prosecutors would be eager to move. Why do you think Jack Smith asked for 3 more weeks?
So this is very much tea leaf reading. Just so everyone understands, this was the case now after that Supreme Court decision that Kamala Harris in the clip you played was referring to. The district judge has the case back finally after 8 months. And she had asked the parties to submit a filing as to how both sides propose the case should go forward. And she wanted that filing today, and she was going to hear from the parties a week from today. And last night, there was a joint filing, but clearly, as you noted, Jonathan, at the request of Jack Smith, saying that we need 3 more weeks. And in that filing, Jack Smith said that as special counsel, he is still, although he's a special counsel, he is required to consult with various parts of the Department of Justice. I know that very well from when I worked in the special counsel Mueller investigation. We still were part of the Department of Justice, and we had to comply with all Justice Department rules, including coordination with other parts of the department that had equities. My guess as to what is going on is there probably is some tension. Jack Smith is a very hard-charging prosecutor. I am sure that he wanted to actually meet this deadline and not ask for more time. But the Department of Justice is a very large place with a lot of moving pieces and a lot of people with a lot of different equities in how to handle this Supreme Court decision. And Merrick Garland, the Attorney General, is a very thoughtful and very cautious person. And I suspect there probably was a bit of a sort of tug of war as to how to handle this and the timing. Here's the big picture, though. The downside of delay is that to the extent that people think there could be a hearing, a factual hearing where we hear from witnesses, the more there's a delay, the less likely that is going to happen before the election.
So then, Andrew, let me get your take on this tweet from George Washington University law professor Randall Eliason, who tweeted, could he, meaning Jack Smith, need more time because he's preparing a superseding indictment, adding Trump's co-conspirators as defendants? That would be smart. Andrew, what do you think about that? And who might the co-defendants be?
So I don't disagree that it might be a good idea to charge various underlings, but I don't think that that is the reason for the delay. And the reason I say that is if Jack Smith were going to do that, there is nothing about the 8-month stay that was in effect that related to Donald Trump. There would be no reason that Jack Smith could not have sought an indictment of underlings before that, or have sought it sooner than needing another 3 weeks. So I just don't think that is the reason for the delay. And who the underlings could be, essentially it would be very similar to the cast of characters that we saw under indictment in Georgia, the sort of Mark Meadows, Rudy Giuliani's of the world, and Jeff Clark, those kinds of people. And it's pretty clear from the current indictment that they are unindicted co-conspirators because their conduct is part of what you can see Jack Smith would present at a trial. One final note for people is, the real big picture here is if Kamala Harris is elected, this case is alive. And even if there's nothing that happens between now and the election, if she is elected, this case is going to go forward. If Donald Trump is elected, this case is not going forward. He, as president, one of the first things he will do is just tell his attorney general to get rid of this case. So big picture, this case really rises and falls on the election results.
Andrew Weissman, as always, thank you.
You're welcome.
Coming up, it's one thing Americans seem to really agree on, and it's something Democrats want, and Donald Trump definitely does not. Supreme Court reform. That's next with Melissa Murray.
My mental health was better, but uncontrollable movements called TD, tardive dyskinesia, started disrupting my day.
TD felt embarrassing. I felt like disconnecting. I asked my doctor about treating my TD and learned about Ingrezza.
Ingrezza is clinically proven for reducing TD. Most people saw results in just 2 weeks. People taking Ingrezza can stay on most mental health meds. Only #1 prescribed Ingrezza has simple dosing for TD. Always 1 pill once daily. Ingrezza can cause depression, suicidal thoughts, or actions in patients with Huntington's disease. Pay close attention to and call your doctor if you become depressed, have sudden changes in mood, behaviors, feelings, or have thoughts of suicide. Don't take Ingrezza if you're allergic to its ingredients. Ingrezza may cause serious side effects including angioedema, potential heart rhythm problems, and abnormal movements. Report fevers, stiff muscles, or problems thinking, as these may be life-threatening. Sleepiness is the most common side effect.
Take control by asking your doctor about Ingrezza.
Hi, I'm Eileen. I live in Vancouver, Washington, and I write mystery novels. As I was writing, I found that I just wasn't sharp, and that doesn't work when you're writing a mystery. And I knew I needed to do something. So I started taking Prevagen. I realized that I was much more clear, much sharper. I was remembering the details that I was supposed to. Prevagen keeps my brain working right.
Prevagen, at stores everywhere without a prescription.
Hey, Ryan Reynolds here for, I guess, my 100th Mint commercial. No. I mean, it's unlimited premium wireless for $15 a month. I mean, honestly, when I started this, I thought I only have to do like 4 of these. How are there still people paying 2 or 3 times that much? I'm sorry, I shouldn't be victim blaming here. Yeah. Anyway, it's still $15 a month, so whenever you're ready. Sorry about all that production value.
We need a miracle.
Miracle every Thursday starting at 2:45.
I love you.
I know.
Find childcare that fits your schedule at care.com.
Yo, what's up, everybody? How you doing?
Kev, can I get a response to the trade rumors?
Trade. Trades means moving, man. We talking about moving? Moving means contractors, inspectors, strangers judging my carpet. What we talking about, staging? We talking about a faux ficus. A faux ficus. Nobody's gonna bring a faux ficus into my house.
You could use Open Door, sell your house directly to them. It's easy.
I guess we're moving.
Kev.
What you gonna ask me about next, man? Practice?
Only from SimpliSafe, 24/7 lifeguard protection. This exclusive technology allows SimpliSafe agents to help stop crime in real time.
Stop. Police are on their way.
For instant intruder deterrence and faster police response, there's no safe like SimpliSafe.
Want the effects of Viagra, but faster? Meet Rose Sparks. They contain sildenafil and tadalafil, but Sparks dissolve under the tongue. Dissolvables work faster than old school pills. Connect with a medical provider at ro.co/sparks.
Did you ever worry we wouldn't get you to enjoy this?
Seriously, I'm on the green, and all I can think about is all the green I'm spending on 3 kids in college.
With Empower, I get all my financial questions answered, so I don't have to worry.
Empower. What's next?
Sleepy? Headaches? Dry skin? You're probably dehydrated. Try Liquid Labs Rapid Hydration. It's packed with all 5 essential electrolytes, tastes amazing, and way less sugar than sports drinks. Rehydrate and feel better with Liquid Labs. Grab Liquid Labs in the Walmart vitamin aisle today.
Why do couples choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
I need help with their snoring.
Sleep Number does that.
Thank you.
During our biggest sale of the year, save 50% on the Sleep Number limited edition smart bed. Shop now at a Sleep Number store near you.
You should never be using traditional laundry detergent. Chances are you're buying a lot of water. And don't even get me started on the plastic. Instead, join the many other people who have already switched to EarthBreeze Eco Sheets. These are dissolvable detergent sheets that go in your machine's tub or drawer, and they dissolve in the cycle to clean your clothes. Plus, EarthBreeze's packaging is sleek, so it fits anywhere. And there's no plastic jugs. So it's time to make the switch at earthbreeze.com.
For anyone who wants bipartisanship, and plenty of voters in both parties say they do, here you go. Reigning in the Supreme Court. According to a new USA Today Ipsos poll, an overwhelming number of Americans, 76%, support President Biden's proposal for a binding code of conduct for the Supreme Court. That's an astonishing number. That's Social Security levels of popularity. A majority of Americans, including a majority of Republicans, also agree that there should be term limits for Supreme Court justices. President Biden has also proposed a constitutional amendment to override the Supreme Court's immunity decision. The president's attempt to restore public trust in the Supreme Court comes after reports that Justices Samuel Alito and Clarence Thomas both received expensive gifts, including trips on private jets, from friends without reporting it. And this week, Democratic Senator Ron Wyden revealed that Justice Thomas had gone on even more trips on conservative donor Harlan Crow's private jet, travel that he had not previously disclosed. Joining us now, Melissa Murray, professor of law at New York University. She's also an MSNBC legal analyst and the other co-author of the New York Times bestseller, The Trump Indictments. Melissa, great to see you. Look at this new poll of Americans who support a binding code of ethics for the Supreme Court justices. And you see across political lines, 70% of Republicans, 89% of Democrats, 75% of independents support Biden's proposal. Does that increase the pressure on Congress to act on it? And also, the no, I don't support that is impossible to defend.
Well, it certainly seems, Jonathan, that Supreme Court reform is the hot new club. It has everything, emotional support, billionaires, court reform, term limits, and people are really in support of it. And to be clear, the reforms that President Biden proposed are actually quite modest. He said nothing about packing the court, adding more justices, which is something that many on the left have advocated to rebalance this court. He put forth the most modest solution. So a binding code of ethics, which is something that judges throughout the world adhere to, and certainly lower court judges in this country. He put forth term limits, which again is something that every other democratic system in the world has for their court of last resort. And then the most extreme thing that he offered was a constitutional amendment that would overturn Trump versus United States, that presidential immunity decision. So these are very modest proposals. The fact that Joe Biden, the former chair of the Senate Judiciary Committee and a deep-hearted institutionalist, decided to put this forth shows how far this court has gone. And even Joe Biden has to say it's time to call the question on this. And I think that poll reflects the fact that most Americans are there too.
Mm-hmm. The president has also called for 18-year term limits for the justices and for a constitutional amendment on presidential immunity. This would still require a 2/3 vote in the House and Senate and ratification by 3/4 of state legislatures, but clearly it's needed. Where do you see this going from a legal standpoint?
So as you say, this requires supermajority support, not just in Congress, but also in the state legislatures. An amendment is an uphill battle. We've only had 27 amendments in the history of the United States. 10 of them were ratified within the first year of the Constitution actually happening as a condition for the Constitution to be ratified in full. So we've really only had 17 other moments where we've amended the Constitution. So it's a big uphill lift. The fact that it may be a big uphill lift doesn't mean that this proposal isn't important, though. What it does suggest is that the Democrats recognize that there is a huge problem here with the Supreme Court, that the Supreme Court is an impediment to any progressive agenda that the Democrats put forth, even where those policy proposals have majoritarian support with the people. The court can always overturn it, and they can do so while also being in the pocket, perhaps, of these emotional support billionaires that we've heard so much about over the last year. It's a terrible look for the court. The Biden administration knows it, and it now seems that the Democrats are prepared to make this a part of electoral politics, which is where it should have been for a long time.
Melissa, I need you to listen to what Supreme Court Justice Neil Gorsuch told Fox in response to President Biden's reforms. Listen to this.
I have one thought to add. It is that the independent judiciary means, what does it mean to you as an American? It means that when you're unpopular, you can get a fair hearing under the law and under the Constitution. If you're in the majority, you don't need judges and juries to hear you and protect your rights. You're popular. It's there for the moments when the spotlight's on you, when the government's coming after you. And don't you want a ferociously independent judge and a jury of your peers to make those decisions? Isn't that your right as an American? And so I just say, be careful.
Melissa, what do you think he means by be careful?
Well, methinks Neil Gorsuch doth protest too much. I mean, I think every American wants an independent judiciary, especially those who may find themselves on the other side of unpopular positions. The point here, though, is when you see justices of the Supreme Court hanging out with conservative interests who have business before the court, and then all of a sudden these conservative interests prevail and decisions are overturned in favor of those conservative interests, it's hard to say that this is in fact an independent judiciary where every American gets a fair shake. That's the point of these reforms. So Justice Gorsuch is exactly right, but per usual, he's a little off target.
Melissa Murray, great to see you. The last time we saw each other, was a whole different, not so happy occasion there in Aspen.
Very different.
Thank you. Have a good weekend.
You too.
And coming up, the new Harris-Walz ticket means a big new opportunity with Latino voters who could be decisive in this election. That's next.
I have type 2 diabetes, but I manage it well. It's a little pill with a big story to tell. I take once daily Jardiance at each day's start. As time went on, it was easy to see I'm lowering my A1C.
Jardiance works 24/7 in your body to flush out some sugar. And for adults with type 2 diabetes and known heart disease, Jardiance can lower the risk of cardiovascular death, too.
Serious side effects may include ketoacidosis that may be fatal, dehydration that can lead to sudden worsening of kidney function, and genital yeast or urinary tract infections. A rare life-threatening bacterial infection in the skin of the perineum could occur. Stop Jardiance and call your doctor right away if you have symptoms of this infection, ketoacidosis, or an allergic reaction. You may have increased risk for lower limb loss. Call your doctor right away if you have symptoms of infection in your legs or feet. Taking Jardiance with a sulfonylurea or insulin may cause low blood sugar.
Jardiance is really swell, the little pill with the big story to tell.
With Car Gurus, you can buy or sell your car, in person or online. If only you could do things your way all the time. Wouldn't that be nice? Get it with Gurus.
I'm obsessed with Olay's Retinol Body Wash.
With Olay Retinol Body Wash, 95% of women had visibly renewed skin.
Makes my skin feel so smooth and moisturized.
Olay Body Wash and Lotion. Discover yours.
When I was diagnosed with HIV, I didn't know who I would be.
But here I am, being me.
Keep being you and ask your healthcare provider about the #1 prescribed HIV treatment, Biktarvy.
Biktarvy is a complete one-pill, once-a-day treatment used for HIV in many people, whether you're 18 or 80. With one small pill, Biktarvy fights HIV to help you get to undetectable and stay there, whether you're just starting or replacing your current treatment. Research shows that taking HIV treatment as prescribed and getting to and staying undetectable prevents transmitting HIV through sex. Serious side effects can occur, including kidney problems and kidney failure. Rare, life-threatening side effects include a buildup of lactic acid and liver problems. Do not take Biktarvy if you take dofetilide or rifampin. Tell your healthcare provider about all the medicines and supplements you take if you are pregnant or breastfeeding, or if you have kidney or liver problems, including hepatitis. If you have hepatitis B, do not stop taking Biktarvy without talking to your healthcare provider. Common side effects are diarrhea, nausea, and headache.
No matter where life takes you, Biktarvy can go with you. Talk to your healthcare provider today.
No one should have to choose between good vision and great value. That's why America's Best is slashing their prices. During the Wise Buy sales event, get 2 progressives and a comprehensive eye exam for just $129.95. Book an exam online today.
With MyQ, home is just a touch away. MyQ is the only smart home security solution that provides video monitoring, real-time notifications, and lets you decide who comes in and who stays out. All in one easy-to-use app.
Why do couples choose a Sleep Number smart bed?
Can it keep me warm when I'm cold?
Wait, no, I'm always hot.
Sleep Number does that. During our biggest sale of the year, save 50% on the Sleep Number limited edition smart bed. Shop now at a Sleep Number store near you.
What does a robot know about love? It takes a human to translate that leap in our hearts into something we can see and hold. Etsy.
I have moderate to severe Crohn's disease. Now there's Skyrizi.
Things are looking up, I've got symptom relief. Control of my Crohn's means everything to me. Control is everything to me.
Feel significant symptom relief at 4 weeks with Skyrizi, including less abdominal pain and fewer bowel movements. Skyrizi is the first IL-23 inhibitor that can deliver remission and visibly improve damage of the intestinal lining. And Skyrizi is proven to help deliver long-lasting remission at 1 year.
Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms, had a vaccine, or plan to. Liver problems may occur in Crohn's disease.
Now's the time to ask your gastroenterologist how you can take control of your Crohn's with Skyrizi. Learn how AbbVie could help you save.
As Vice President Harris and her running mates start their swing through the southwestern states of Arizona and Nevada, the Harris campaign is out with a new ad going on offense on border security.
Kamala Harris has spent decades fighting violent crime. As a border state prosecutor, she took on drug cartels and jailed gang members for smuggling weapons and drugs across the border. As vice president, she backed the toughest border control bill in decades. And as president, she will hire thousands more border agents and crack down on fentanyl and human trafficking. Fixing the border is tough. So is Kamala Harris.
I'm Kamala Harris, and I approve this message.
It comes as the first large-scale poll of Latino voters since Kamala Harris became the nominee shows her with a double-digit lead over Donald Trump. Latino voters in 7 battleground states, Arizona, Nevada, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, Georgia, and North Carolina, support Harris over Trump 55-37. Joining us now, Mike Madrid, an expert on the Latino vote and author of the new book, The Latino Century, How America's Largest Minority is Transforming Democracy. Mike, great to see you. You, too, were also there in Aspen when we were together with Melissa Murray at the Debate Watch party. But, Mike, first, how should the Harris campaign think about winning Latino voters?
Well, look, first, let's say this is a really extraordinary moment. Good things are happening with the campaign. There's a lot of momentum, and the reset with Latino voters begins in earnest with the Harris campaign. So there is a long way to go. Also, we've got to acknowledge that. This is one of the groups that is not moving and not coalescing the same way many other groups are. But it seems that the campaign's trajectory is changing markedly, very different direction, the right direction to start picking up these critical votes that they need to. That poll that you just cited still has Donald Trump at 37%. That's the highest historical range that we've seen for a Republican in a very long time. So she's got to work it out for us. But again, she's doing the right thing. She's talking very hard, very firm, very strong on border control and has separated that from immigration reform. That's critical. That's where Latino voters are at. There's nothing inherently racist about being for border security. Democrats have been fooled into thinking they can't do both. They can't chew gum and walk at the same time. Kamala Harris is proving that they can. And watching a woman of color lead Democrats in this direction, I think, is exciting because it portends a much larger coalition in the future.
Mike, Trump has done better with Black and Latino men. What's his appeal to Latino men, and how can the Harris campaign reach them?
Well, it's economic populism. I mean, the bottom line is this. Most of these are men 30 years of age or younger. These are people who are, unfortunately, less college educated than some of their other cohorts. They are rapidly filling the workforce, blue-collar workforce, the payroll of blue-collar manufacturing, construction trades. 1 in 5 men, 1 in 5 Latinos are employed in the construction, retail, residential construction trade or a related field. The tripling of interest rates, the devaluation of our currency with inflation, they've hit Latino households really hard. But again, launching today, this new housing proposal is showing that the Harris campaign is figuring it out. They're talking specifically to the economic concerns of Latino men, where they're at, what allows them to go out and swing hammers, put food on the table for their families, and perhaps most importantly, get into a position where they can buy homes as a younger demographic. They're in the home buying age. And again, the Harris campaign is really moving
Wegovy may cause low blood sugar in people with diabetes, especially if you take medicines to treat diabetes. Tell your provider about vision problems or changes, or if you feel your heart racing while at rest. Depression or thoughts of suicide may occur. Call your provider right away if you have any mental changes. Common side effects like nausea, vomiting, and diarrhea may lead to dehydration, which may cause kidney problems.
With Wegovy,
I'm losing weight.
I'm keeping it off.
And I'm lowering my CV risk.
That's the power of winning. Wegovy.
Check your cost and coverage before talking to your healthcare professional about Wegovy.
Hey, boss. Any updates on the link road to the town hall?
We're low on production buildings.
We need more resources and workers. What's the status on the budget?
Don't worry, I have a plan. I'll share my screen with you.
Whoa, you nailed it. You built an entire city.
Love a good challenge? Build your own empire in Forge of Empires, the strategy game that takes you through human history. Get the app or start your adventure directly on FOE.tv.
Not every decision you make will be as good as getting a Volkswagen at the Savvy VW Summer Sales Event. 2024 Volkswagen models cost less to maintain than Honda.
Get 0.9% APR financing or a $3,500 customer bonus on a new 2024 Atlas or Atlas Cross Sport.
Missing out on the things you love because of asthma? Get back to better breathing with Fasenra, an add-on treatment for eosinophilic asthma that is taken once every 8 weeks. Fasenra is not for sudden breathing problems or other eosinophilic conditions. Allergic reactions may occur. Don't stop your asthma treatments without talking with your doctor. Tell your doctor if your asthma worsens. Headache and sore throat may occur. Tell your doctor if you have a parasitic infection. Step back out there with Fasenra. Ask your doctor if it's right for you.
I was seeing this bra all over my Instagram feed.
This is the most comfortable bra I've ever put on in my life. So not only is it super supportive, lifting and smoothing, but you have all that without an underwire and without a ton of padding.
If you're looking at this and it's available, I promise you won't regret it.
Free returns on all orders.
After Homoglow cleaned our place for $19, we fired our old housekeeper. Homoglow tackled everything from our kitchen to our bathroom, all our laundry. You just pick a date, pick a cleaner, and enjoy a spotless house for $19.
Does back pain keep you up at night? It literally keeps me awake.
But I found a bed that virtually eliminates pressure points and joint discomfort. This Safa mattress has 884 lumbar zone pocketed coils that adjust to my body's curves and movements. I bought it because it's endorsed by the American Chiropractic Association. But I'm keeping it because I'm finally getting the healthy sleep I deserve.
I'll see you tomorrow on the Saturday Show when Minnesota Attorney General Keith Ellison will tell me about the Tim Walz he has known and worked with for years. I'll also be joined by Minnesota Lieutenant Governor Penny Flanagan, who could make history as the nation's first Native American woman governor if the Harris-Walz ticket wins in November. That's tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern, right here on MSNBC. That is tonight's Last Word. The 11th hour with Stephanie Ruhle starts now.
The new Democratic ticket is set.
We are the underdogs in this race.
These guys are creepy and, yes, just weird as hell. That's what you see.
This is America's dad, America's football coach.
He is what J.D. Vance pretends to be.
Well, I smile at a lot of things, including bogus questions from the media, man.
I can't wait to debate the guy. That is, if he's willing to get off the couch and show up. So.
I don't even know how to talk about the couch line yet. I'm still taking advice.
No, we're not going there.
Legal and standards.
We're not going.
What bothers me about Tim Walz is the stolen valor garbage.
Well, it's just hogwash. Tim Walz served our country honorably.
We are joyful warriors. Joyful warriors.
Nobody's spoken to crowds bigger than me. If you look at Martin Luther King, we actually had more people.
It would be hard to find a sentence in what Donald Trump said today that did not include at least one